It's pretty clear that everyone has to learn about right and wrong choices from the consequences.
Hopefully, you learn not to repeat bad choices. A problem about learning from experience of wrong choices is that the consequences can be pretty devastating.
Yes, and it's a real problem if those devastating consequences are from someone else's wrong choice. I thought it was pretty amazing how Tamati was able to pull through and recover as well as he has from his injuries and disappointments, especially as he didn't cause the accident.
Have you considered that it's a pretty powerful factor in recovery from a bad experience and being able to get on with your life again, that all the damage didn't happen by your own bad choice? Because we aren't just dealing with the impact of outside events on us. We also are talking about the inner awareness that we carry around with us about being good and right in what we do, or bad and wrong. That's the YOSHI factor.
Yeah, I see that even if I can't be isolated from other people's wrong choices, I at least won't be hurting myself or other people if I stick with good and right choices. I guess that's my responsibility.
Exactly. That's what social responsibility is all about, which is part of managing your own independence, where it impacts on others.
I want the freedom of the independence, but I don't want to get seriously hurt getting there. What help is there for making good choices without painful experiences? You aren't born with the knowledge of how to make good choices.
You're right about that. Do we have to go through a long experience of consequences before we really understand how to make good choices? Just think how that could delay our safe independence. Is there no other way? Yes, there is, and it concerns the guidance of a value system. But let's get clear about the two ways that consequences can affect us. Linda, as I understand it and the way we were talking before, tika are the basic principles, what we could identify as the moral code to the culture. And the way people express that tikanga into their daily lives is in the customs that are the tika to the culture. Now, if those customs are truly expressing the tikanga, then we say about them, that person is pono, right? And if the expression into their daily life is not true to the tikanga, we see that as tika. Would that be right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Now may I ask you the connection between tapu and mana. So could we say that in this sense, mana represents cultural integrity or wholeness?
Yeah.
Could we say that?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you've got all of them, mana's there.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody.
It's the mana.
Yeah. You can't have mana without having the others.
Yes, that's right.
But there's also a mana that exists within every individual. It's they talk about that every individual has mana within. It's simply just being is mana.
Yes.
I have a right. I'm 1 in a million, so I have a mana of my own.
Especially if somebody talks bad to you.
Yes. This is the mana of one's uniqueness and individuality.
Yeah.
Now, in our program, that's what YOSHI is representing.
Okay.
If you don't have a culture, then you don't really come from anywhere. And that means, where did you come from? Did you just fall from the sky? Because the culture, your culture is like where you come from and like where your whole family began.
Sorry?
And they have different beliefs. And like, they're different spiritualities.
Knowing where they come from and knowing all the history in that, like being Māori, knowing all the history from like how all the tupuna and them come over.
Right. So it gives a background to your life.
People have like different styles of culture.
Different ways of doing things.
Yeah. Different ways of
And it's like different beliefs.
Living.
different ways of living. Absolutely right. Yes.
And different cultures eat different food.
Yeah. Like Māoris, they have boil-up. And
so-
hangis and Samoans, they have
taro.
umus.
Taro.
And umus, they cook it on umus. And Chinese, they have their veggies.
Sweet and sour.
They have their veggies, though.
And
And Thai people in that, they have hot food.
a lot of them, they like have different like sports, and like we have rugby and what did the English have? Soccer.
Yeah.
And then the island. Oh, and they have different kinds of dance. Like Māoris do kapahaka, and
Islanders
Just
do
do
like
the
the
hula.
hula and that.
yeah,
And
the Pākehās do pop and break dancing.
Right.
In Americans, that's their one, break dancing.
What's wrong with present culture, the way the world, say just in New Zealand here?
It's all
think
about
it.
possession.
It's all about,
Possessions, owning things, money, all that.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's fast.
Well, I reckon it depends where you are.
Yeah.
If you're over in Australia, Sydney, it's pretty fast over there.
Yeah.
Very fast.
See, we think it's fast over here, but over in America and overseas stuff,
It's
it's
real fast.
Yeah, it is. It's just,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay.
there is no more time for yourself.
Right.
To be a person, you have to sort of get up to speed and,
Yeah.
and keep up with the world, or else you're going to
Yeah.
be left
Yeah.
behind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're just going to keep up with everything and the changes and the speed of things that are going on, and you're increasingly losing yourself.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what do you young people think about that? What are you going to change in the world that you're going to move into? Because you are the future. You know, you're inheriting a certain cultural way of life. What are you going to do about changing the things that are wrong there? What do you want to see in the culture?
Well, really, it's hard to change something that's already in full motion. You know, you got to learn. Yeah, we can. You know, slowly you can change it, but you know, it's for our generation. It's going to be, you know, you gotta take something new into this
Equation.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so much. That's already in full full swing.
Yeah?
And you know, you got to learn to adapt, and also adapt the so-called modern culture to your way of life. You know, you sort of have to start developing your own culture, if you will. Culture is something you can't you can construct on, but yeah, that's one of the things that rapidly fall out. Yeah, everyone's developing their own sort of thing,
Yeah.
you know, and what we like, for us, the upcoming generation, we have to learn to adapt to all this thing,
yeah.
adapt to it, and you know, change, bring our own sort of change, because nothing can change rapidly, and we all know that, you know. What people have set already is sort of for what we have to improve, kind of thing. If you get that, yeah.
And like different cultures coming together, eh?
Ah!
Yeah.
You see, here in New Zealand, we are a prime example of two major cultures that have come together.
Back in the days, they used to have
Racial problems.
yeah, but now like everybody's like growing just to live together,
And accept each other as like I don't know,
'Cause
as
there's
being
like-
neighbours kind of
because there's
thing.
like no full Māoris left and no full, like they've all
Inbreeded.
Yes, intermingled.
intermingle with the different races, so they can't be racist against people because they're not.
They'll be racist
only
towards
way they can
themselves.
be, the only way they can like be fully from one single race is if they inbreeded.
Say if I was to go up to someone that was Samoan and try to speak their language, like
You wouldn't know what you're doing.
yeah, but like if I tried to do it and they might take it offensively because I might have said something wrong, and then like what's their reaction gonna be? But if someone come up to like me, like us being a Māori in that, and try to speak our language, I don't reckon we'll
be
do
like-
anything. Yeah, but we'll just be like, okay, but it's good because they're trying to learn it. Anyway.
But like some people find it like a bit racist. It's like oh, it's like they're not pronouncing it properly.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they think it's a bit racist, but,
we get offended because.
But at
it's
least
like-
they're trying.
yeah.
It's better than like
It's
they're
better
trying
than
real
them,
hard,
yeah.
and some people don't realise that they're actually trying. They just think that they're just being a bit racist.
Stupid.
But there are some people that are being a bit racist. They're like, oh, pono, and like real.
Yeah, and it's not
dumb
funny, and they
remarks.
think it's funny, but it's not. It's not funny.
Today's ones, it's not funny.
Okay?
Now, what's your opinion about the success so far with which those cultures have come together?
No, I don't reckon it has not.
Because one culture is like overpowering the
That's
other
right.
one.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
You have no. They're
Yeah.
only just nowadays that we're just starting to recognise Māori culture.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you know, European culture and all that have come straight in, and you know, it's sort of like, how can Māori culture survive in a world that, you know, is striving on material possession, money, all that. You know, it's like one culture has come in and slowly degrading the other one. Well, that's how I see it anyway.
I think it's rapidly.
Yeah, it's rapidly. I mean, we're losing, as the generations go on, we're slowly losing Māori culture.
Yeah. Most
in New Zealand.
Māori, they don't know the Māori language.
Yeah, they don't know.
So-
That's a prime example. The language
Yeah.
is slowly dying throughout the thing.
All right, I want to ask you then, who is responsible to maintain their culture?
Everyone.
In the old days, the old ones passed it down to
Yeah.
the young ones, and our old ones, they
Yeah, they-
hardly know. You know, they haven't been
Yeah, they-
passed down the traditions and stuff.
They've been neglected of what they
Yeah.
should be doing because
Because
of
of
this
another
new
culture.
culture.
Yeah,
You know?
all right. And so do you see the responsibility of the young generation to recover the essentials
Yeah.
of their culture?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What culture has to face is the need to examine the authenticity or the truth of the principles that are the spiritual and material recognitions at the base of that culture, out of which the way of life grows, you know? Correct?
Yeah.
To use our terms that we were talking about, tukaha, one has to be prepared to examine the tikanga,
Yeah.
you know, to keep them absolutely valid and authentic,
Yeah.
so that as we build those principles into the tika of our lives, you know, we are living authentic lives, you know. I wanted to show you something that's about culture. I filmed down at Twin Bridges because I wanted to take an illustration of what happens when two rivers flow together. And they come under those twin bridges, and from that point on they flow as one river. And I've photographed it also a second time after heavy rain, where one of the rivers is coming down filled with silt, and so as it comes under the bridge and they mix, you can see very clearly the input of one river starting to mingle with the other.
Yeah.
What I believe is that that's a true metaphor of what happens when cultures flow together. We are committed to two cultures flowing down the bed of one river, one country, you know. The people are living side by side in the one country. Now, from the bridge I watch the two rivers mixing. You can see the mingling of the two, and it's not far downstream before. They are evenly dispersed, and you can't separate the waters of one river from the other.
Yeah.
Now, what I want to propose is that as you cannot make rivers flow backwards, you know, and go back to the point where you had separate rivers,
Yeah.
neither can you in the flow of time and the mixing of people coming together to live together. You can never recover the time prior to their coming together.
Yeah, yeah.
And even if further downstream you say you're going to channel off one river and separate it from...
Still mixed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can never channel off, actually, the river that flowed in and made the junction with the other one.
Yeah.
You can't separate. You see, we've got 150 years of the junction of Maori people and European in particular. Other cultures have come in the meantime. But those two essential cultures have had 150 years of experienced relationship with each other, and they are changed by that relationship. And you can never recover in the future that which you had in the past, because it's been modified by 150 years together. What I want to propose to the young people of your generation is that that's the only realistic way in which to face the future. And that what we should be concentrating on is what has been happening, the evolving of a truly Kiwi culture. A culture that is not European, it's not Maori exclusively. It is a culture that is distinctive because we have found a way of relating to each other respectfully and honourably, and saying we want the best of your spiritual and material recognitions and we'll offer ours, and we want a way of life that is unique in the world, because this is the only place where these two particular major cultures have met and mingled.